wished they had a superpower when they were a kid.
I want one now.
What if we do? Yes, what if we do? One of my favorite moments in the Harry Potter movies is after years of abuse when this kid has Hagrid look at him and he just says, "You are a wizard." I didn't figure out our superpowers until about 10 years ago. And so parenthood is a bit cruel for those of us in the audience, right? That I'm the mama in that picture. A mere 26 years ago, the hair's a little different. And I call her my wildest ride. So that precious little baby girl, about 10 years ago, she was 16. And she started to experience a really serious eating disorder, and she became suicidal at the time, and she had really severe anxiety. So not an unusual story amongst teenagers, and I know there's people in this room who have been through this or have family who've been through it. And I remember we were all struggling with what to do. We got whatever help we could. But one of the things that I still to this day remember was when I would hug her every day I could feel more and more of her spine. And I've gone, what can I do? I used to ask myself, what can I do to keep this kid alive? And we had a therapist and a psychologist had given some really good advice, so it wasn't one of those cases where we don't know what to do. We actually knew what she needed to do. She had a really dysfunctional relationship with one of the people in her life, one of the key men in her life. And she knew that she needed to set some healthy boundaries and say some things to this person. But this really big-hearted kid didn't want to hurt this other person. So she just got sicker and sicker and sicker, more and more. Feel that's fine. And in desperation, I'm in Byron, so this is not going to seem so out there. We were in a small Irish Catholic town when I did this. I went to see a psychic medium and took her to an energy healer. Not so weird for you guys. Very strange for where I am. And even stranger that we found somebody. And one of the things that happened in that session, somebody showed up and gave my kid permission that nobody else could have given her. The mom who had passed on of this man showed up. And I'll try not to cry as I say this because I will forever be grateful to this woman for what she said that day. She gave the same advice the psychotherapist had given, but she also added something that he could never have said. I promise you, I've got him. You will not break him when you do this. And you've got to trust me. I've got him. And she did. And I will never forget, after having done this, hugging this kid that's now becoming a skeleton, she ate that day and kept that meal down for the first time in months. She did a bellyache because her poor digestive system hadn't actually processed food in such a long time. Incredible feeling. And, sorry. And out of that, she and I walked away with this knowledge of this whole unseen world and this world of wisdom that never before had either of us even been aware of. And I look at that, back to the superpower, I look at that and go, we all have this. We all have access to this. Why didn't we know about this? This time I'm, in my late 30s. And she was in crisis, and it, could have helped us earlier if we'd known. So one of my favorite stories is one of my daughter's stories after that. So when she was in her early 20s, she was coming out of a train station in Sydney, and there were 2 escalators to leave, so 2 escalators to go, and both were equally busy. She could have picked either escalator to leave this station, and one was near, the logical one, and one was further away. And she just got that really subtle signal, go for the one that's further away. what she had been through, she'd learned, listen to that voice, listen to that, it's a really subtle signal, it's not making a lot of sense, easier to do the near one, but she knew. And she got on that, and halfway up, the near escalator just shuddered to a stop, and everybody on it either stumbled or actually fell. I think you guys know what those escalators are like. They're metal, you know, that's gonna hurt. She's on the one, she gets off unharmed. And I look for all of us and I go, I think everybody in that train station that day got that signal. Not just the people that ended up on that far escalator. But we're in a world that has us on this hamster wheel of busy, and we're often not present to hear it. And how many of us have heard it and gone, oh, that doesn't make any sense. I'll just do this. Has that happened? Yeah. I think to all of us at some point or other. That doesn't make any sense. So I look and I go, we all have this incredible superpower that taps us into this unseen world of wisdom. And one of the reasons I love that story is she didn't have any sort of experience in her life that would have told her that escalator is going to break. It goes beyond what our lived experience is, what we're tapping into. And I just love that we all have that. And I've been experimenting with it in my life. And over the past 5 years, this day started with Melissa's talk about, as women, we do too much. And I was one of those women for a long time. And I found what this voice keeps saying is, relax. How hard did we find that? I did. So over the last 5 years, I've relaxed. I'm in the same job with the same boss, and I'm so much more chilled. I somehow have more money in the bank with the same paycheck, and my relationships are richer and sweeter because I'm more present and I've slowed down and I'm more relaxed. And so I come back and go, we all have that. Did you know you were a wizard?